It is a faster moving planet. It transits over a certain house within days. However, it is one of the most important planets which makes us do our choices in life. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We have been doing many series of planets going over houses, planets going over signs, planets in conjunctions and so on. In that we have also done the placements of planets in transit of one planet transiting over the other. Today we are starting a new series of planets transiting over houses, not placed mind you, but transiting over houses, which means a planet when it is transiting over a house rather than placed in your horoscope for that period of time, what kind of permutations, combinations, decision making it brings to you. Now remember, my channel is a channel where we just don't talk about shlokas and how certain books describe planetary placements. Here we try to combine logic, analysis. So when I say Mercury transiting over Aries, I will try and combine the energies of Mercury, the qualities and the personality characteristics of Mercury, combining it with the personality characteristics, characterization of the Aries sign. Many others will just tell you Mercury going over Aries means this, but you will have to combine the entities, the permutation, the combination, the characteristics, the personalities of both before you come to conclusion. That is what my channel surely does. So let's jump in and see how Mercury planet, when it is transiting over different houses in your horoscope during the transit period, what choices it gives you, what kind of permutation and combination it allows us to make through our choices. Now when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thought-through decision making, communication skills, marketing, branding and number of things, goes over your first house, which is the house of your self, what your life goals are, what is your status, what is your standing in society, what is your dignity, confidence, your health, your purpose of life, your overall well-being, so on and so forth. So when Mercury goes in transit, mind you, not placed but in transit over your first house, it activates the thinking process, the logic, the analysis, the decision making about the first house areas. So here the person starts to reanalyze or think through that what am I doing regarding my life, my life's goals, my status, my standing in society, my dignity. Now you may not think about all the areas of the first house all the time whenever Mercury goes over the first house, but there will be one area which will be a standout area or standout particular aspect in your life at that point of time, which is an important one, which is a critical one, which may also be going through ups and downs, which may be going through some changes you want to make. And so what happens is when Mercury is going over the Lagna, over the first house, about that area of life, you tend to think more, you tend to analyze more, you tend to relook at whether you have done so far well in that area, you have been logical, have you made your right choices and so on. So for example, if you are thinking that in terms of your standing in society, your status in society, your stature in society, you have not done so very well so far, or you have done okay. So you think, have I done well? How do people look at? How do people look at my dignity? How do people look at what kind of success I've achieved so far? How do people analyze me? And how do I take this forward? Have I done educated decisions, so forth, or not? So the logic of Mercury sets in, the planet of analysis, practicality sets in, so the person starts to look at that area more logically, more critically, sometimes also critiquing themselves also. And so then because of this rethinking, reanalyzing, the person starts to take actions or choices in that particular area of life, and that's why Mercury's transit over certain houses become important. And that's why when Mercury goes retrograde while in transit over a certain house, we also asked to rethink about our decision making about that area, because many times we have to redo that particular choice, or we have to rethink about our communication, or we may be misunderstood. So Mercury going over the first house is a chance of analyzing your life, analyzing your standing in society, analyzing your purpose of life, analyzing your overall well-being. Now, which sign Mercury goes over while transiting the first house is also important. For example, if Mercury is transiting over the Taurus sign, which is in the first house. So here you're also thinking about how have you done so far in terms of your bank balance, how far you have done in terms of earning potential, how far have you done in terms of your livelihood, have you been able to do well, have you been able to get proper increments. So here the thinking also goes around those lines. So it's important, not only should we see Mercury transiting over the Lagna of the first house, but also the sign that it is transiting over excellent. Now, when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thought through decision making, is transiting over your second house of values, integrity, the tribe that you come from, your dependence, your community, your earnings, your earning potential, your livelihood, and so on. So here, when Mercury is transiting over your second house, it gives you a chance of analyzing what have you done so far, or maybe in the year so far, or maybe in life so far, regarding your integrity, regarding your livelihood, your savings, your nourishment. Some aspect of your second house, Mercury will push you to rethink, reanalyze, look at it and see whether you have done well so far or doing well so far. So for example, there may be a period when Mercury is going over your second house and you are thinking about how have you been, or how are you being seen by others in terms of a person of integrity, a person of principles, a person of values. How are you seen by your own tribe, by your own community? There may have been an incident in the near future, in the near past, where you must have thought that some people are not maybe respecting you as much, or not valuing your integrity, or maybe questioning your principles and values. Or Mercury may make you think about your earning potential and how much money are you making so far, about increments in your job, or whether you're working with the right kind of people. Or Mercury may also make you rethink about your dependents, how they are doing, and whether you have taken good care of them or not. So when Mercury transits your second house, it is a time to rethink, reanalyze that particular area of life and redo those areas, or take a decision or make a choice about that area. Now, which sign Mercury transits over when it's transiting over the second house is also very important. So if Mercury is transiting over, say for example, Gemini in the second house, so here Gemini is also the sign of rethinking from your communication perspective, what kind of effort that you're putting in, how you're marketing, branding, and so forth. So here Mercury makes you rethink that through your effort are you making enough money, because the second house is the house of nourishment, earning potential, your savings. So through your effort, have you been able to save enough money for a rainy day? So you should also see when Mercury is transiting over the second house, which sign it is transiting over, and basis that then you make an analysis of what kind of results it is giving you, what kind of choices it is giving you. Now Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thought through decision making, communication skills, marketing, branding, your completeness, perfection, all of these areas, when it is transiting over your third house. The third house is the house of your communication skills, your effort, your self-enterprise, what you are trying to get your efforts channelized and get results from, your ability to influence people, your ability to market yourself, branding, use of limbs, and so forth. So when Mercury transits over the third house, here Mercury is pretty comfortable, because the third house in the Kal Purush Kundi is also ruled by Mercury, which is the Gemini sign. So when Mercury goes over the third house, here Mercury makes you rethink and reanalyze how far you have done, or have you done well in terms of your communication skills. Are you good at influencing people? How good are you at branding yourself? How have you done so far very well in terms of your self-enterprise, especially if you're working on your own, rather than working under somebody. So yeah, Mercury gives you a chance of revisiting, reanalyzing, and look at those areas with a lot of practicality rather than from emotional perspective. And many times you try to rethink and redo those areas. For example, if you think you're not very good at communicating with people, so you will try and reanalyze and work on your communication skills. If you think that some of your decisions are not very logical decisions, then you may revisit some of the decisions and think more logically. If you are a person who is doing something of your own, then you will rethink about, have you been able to market your products very well? Have you been able to influence people through what kind of services you are providing on your own? So Mercury will make you rethink about those areas and then take some decision, not about all areas about the third house, but you will pick out one area which you will refocus on and try and redo. Now, which sign Mercury is going over when it is transiting over the third house is important. For example, if Mercury is transiting over the third house where Capricorn sign is placed, especially if your Lagna is that of Scorpio, then obviously your third house will have the Capricorn sign. So when Mercury is transiting the third house of the Capricorn sign, so here you will not only rethink about your communication and effort, but also double down and put double the efforts to be able to make a very organized, structured effort towards your communication, towards your branding, towards your marketing ability, and through that to be able to make your decisions, and through that be able to get your efforts right, get your communication right, get your branding right, and your ability to get how to influence others right. Now, when Mercury goes over the 4th house in transit, so firstly, Mercury is the planet of practicality, your branding, your critiquing skills, how you are able to put across your logic in your choices, and how you are able to take practical decisions, what is your communication skills, your ability to influence people, marketing, branding, and so forth. So when this planet of critique, communication, practicality, influencing skills is transiting over the 4th house. Mind you, we are not talking about place in the 4th house in your horoscope. Here we are talking about transiting over your 4th house. So there is a difference. So while transiting over the 4th house, because the time of transit is less, so here the person rethinks about, have they so far taken practical decisions, logical decisions, thought through decisions about assets, about areas about the 4th house. For example, what kind of domestic life you have so far. Are you happy? Are you satisfied in life? Do you have a very peaceful tranquility, aspect in your home, in your domestic life? What kind of relations you have with mother? Have you visited your mother so far? Have you taken care of your mother? And so on. And this is also a placement where you may rethink about, have you been over emotional in certain areas of your life? Have you been more practical? Have you lost your assets because of too much emotional decision making or not? And it also makes you to rethink about, have you been empathetic enough towards your family, towards your domestic life or not? So it may not rethink about all areas about the 4th house, but at least one area of the 4th house Mercury will make you think, analyze, take educated decisions about, and maybe even critique your own efforts in how you have done well or not so done very well so far about that area. So here a person may rethink about, have I been able to create a more strong asset base for myself, having a house, having a car, having the day-to-day conveniences or not. If not, then the person will rethink, how should I improve those so that my assets improve, so that my conveniences, my life's conveniences, comforts in life improve. Rethink about, have I been able to repair things or change things or buy new things or invest in property and so forth. So Mercury will make you analyze, rethink, make the choices according to the area of life that Mercury wants to focus on of the fourth house areas. Now, which sign Mercury is transiting while transiting the 4th house is also important. For example, if Mercury is transiting over the sign of Pisces in your 4th house, so yeah, Mercury will make you also rethink about, do I have the emotional skills to be able to handle the issues of the 4th house? Have I been somebody who has rose colored glasses over your eyes and not able to see any challenges at home, and you have been not thinking about others, you have not been able to focus on the needs of others? And so Mercury makes you rethink about have you been able to do well for everybody at home, and it also makes you analyze and balance between the practical issues of life and the emotional side as well, the softer, the mushier side as well. So it's important to not only see when Mercury is transiting over the 4th house, only the 4th house areas, but also analyze it in perspective of the sign that it is transiting over. Now when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, completion, critiquing, your perfection, your communication skills, decision making, thought through decision making, educated decision making is transiting over your 5th house. Your 5th house is the house of your education, your romance, what you like, what your interests are, upheavals in your career. Mind you, remember the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So a transformation in your career, a change in your career, new opportunities in your area also. Plus the areas of finance, speculative investments, the power, the children, public performances, the stage, all these areas are connected to the 5th house. So when Mercury is transiting over the 5th house, the person rethinks about these areas in life, that have I done well so far, have I made the right choices, have I been practical in these areas, have I made thought through decision making, how have I done so far in terms of success in these areas. Now Mercury may not think about all these areas at once, because the transit of Mercury is a short duration transit. It is not for months, between sometimes it may be short enough of a few weeks to maybe almost a couple of months as well. So here Mercury will make you think about at least one area connected to the 5th house. So for example, if you are at that stage of life where education is important for you, or you are going through school, then you may rethink about, do I study well? Am I organized in my studies? Am I disciplined in my approach about studies? Am I doing very well? What are my favorite subjects? Because 5th house is also the house of your interest. What do I like? Should I pursue that more? Should I first read up those chapters which I like first, and then keep the harder chapters for later? So Mercury makes you analyze and overanalyze, or overthink also, or rethink about those areas. If you are in that stage of life where your education is done and you are dating somebody, then you may rethink about, especially if there has been trouble in your romantic life so far, then you may rethink about, am I somebody who really like this person? Is this person good with me? Do we look together well as a couple? Are we able to channelize the energies well? Are we looking in the same direction together? And are we doing well as a couple as well? So they may rethink about that area of life, one of the areas about the 5th house, and rethink about and do that area also if they feel some improvements are needed. If they think they need to give more time to their partner, they may want to go on more dates. If they feel the partner is not being fair to them, then they may pick up a fight with the partner, communicate. Mind you, remember Mercury is also the planet of communication. Communicate with the partner, you don't give me enough time, you need to rethink about how we are going together, and so on. Now which sign Mercury is transiting over while transiting the 5th house is also important. So for example, if Mercury is transiting over your 5th house or the sign of Sagittarius, so here Mercury may rethink about, for example, education as well as higher education or learning. So Mercury may think that, am I doing well in my current area, and what will be the higher qualification that I want to get, or learning about, say for example, romance. What have I learned so far? This certain situation occurred a couple of days back, a week back. What should I derive out of this particular situation, out of this particular period that I went through, this challenge that I went through? Is it telling me that this is not the right person for me? Is it telling me that we should take this relationship forward? I need to reanalyze and make an educated decision whether I want to be with this person or not. So while Mercury is transiting over your 5th house, you should also see the sign that it is transiting over before you analyze how together over the 5th house and the sign, what kind of permutation, combination, and what kind of choices Mercury is allowing you to make. Now when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, marketing, logic, thought through decision making, your communication skills, perfection, completion, critiquing, all those areas goes over your 6th house, the 6th house of service, competition, sickness, your debts, your loans, court cases, working under somebody, working in a job on a salary, your inimical forces acting behind your back, your day-to-day activities, and so on. So when Mercury, the planet of analysis, goes over the 6th house, the person starts to think about one of the areas about that house. Now mind you, Mercury is not placed in this house, Mercury is transiting over this house. There is a difference when Mercury is placed in a certain house in the horoscope, or when Mercury is transiting over a certain house in transit, which is obviously a short duration one. So here Mercury makes you think about at least one area about that particular house. So for example, Mercury may rethink when it is transiting the 6th house about your sicknesses. If there have been some niggling challenges in your health so far, you may think that, am I doing well? Do I take good care of myself? Am I eating properly? Am I exercising well or not? Or am I overstressed? You may go and look at yourself in the mirror. You may look at your health. You may look at your weight. You may look at your eyes, and then reanalyze that how in that particular area are you doing okay. So if you're looking at health perspective when Mercury is going over your 6th house, then you may want to do something about the health. If you think that you've been sick or you under stress and you have not been taking care, then you may think, no, I need to rest, I need to take it easier, I'm overstressing myself at studies or at work and competition, whatever, so I need to take a backseat, I need to go easy on myself. So on one area of your life, Mercury will rethink when it goes over the 6th house connected to the 6th house areas. If you have been somebody who's in loans, who has taken debts, then you may rethink about, am I too much into debts? Do I take debts at the drop of a hat? Like I take loans whenever I need to without thinking too much. I need to reanalyze my loans. I need to be more careful about where am I taking money from, credit card swipes. I need to rethink about all of this. So then the person may rethink and analyze and try to take or make choices from then on, not to push that area or to do better in that area. Now, which sign Mercury is transiting over when transiting the 6th house is also important. So if Mercury is transiting, say for example, the Aries sign when it is transiting the 6th house, because Aries is in your the sign ruling your 6th house, which means obviously you have Scorpio sign as your Lagna. So here it means that the person will not only look at the 6th house areas analytically, think through with practicality, but with the Aries energy of wanting to solve, try to find a solution, or this go-getting energy, very strong motivational energy that I need to go and achieve this and do this. I need to achieve a better health. Let me hit the gym. So that kind of energy comes into the person when Mercury is transiting over the 6th house, wanting to do something about that area with the energy of the sign that it is transiting over. So when Mercury is transiting over your 6th house, not only look at the areas that it is transiting over of the 6th house, but also the sign energies which combines together, and then through the combination of the 6th house areas and the sign energies, then you are ending up with what kind of choices you make, what kind of permutations and combinations Mercury allows you to make the choices in. Now when Mercury, the planet of practicality, logic, thoughtful decision, branding, completion and so on, is transiting over your 7th house. So Mercury, obviously the planet of communication skills, critiquing, perfection orientation and so on, is transiting over the 7th house of relations, connections, your teamwork, your ability to form partnerships, your business area, maybe your married life, all these areas about the 7th house. Then the person rethinks about or analyzes, how have I done so far in terms of my relations, or my teamwork, or my connection, or my business, or my conjugal life, or my married partner. So Mercury is not placed in this house that it will think about all those areas. Mercury is transiting over this house, so the transit is a short duration transit. So at least one area about the 7th house, Mercury will rethink or make you think or reanalyze. So for example, Mercury transiting over the 7th house, you may start thinking about your team or the people who work under you or with you. You may think that, do I do well with my team? Do I have a good connection with my team? Do I have a good equation and rapport with my team? Is my team helpful? Who among the team members I gel along better? Who I should push forward for support, or for motivation, or for growth. So Mercury will make you analyze and do something about that particular area. So if Mercury makes you think about your married life, then you may think about, am I somebody who communicates well with my partner? Sometimes do I stress too much about my relation with my partner? Am I easygoing with my partner? Do I critique my partner a lot? And have I made a logical decision of being with this person, especially if it's a relationship which is not going very well? So Mercury may make you rethink and reanalyze and take decisions according to that particular area and how you're thinking, what situation you have gone through, what is your experience in that area so far. Now, which sign Mercury transits over while it is transiting over the 7th house is also important. So for example, if Mercury is transiting over the Cancer sign in the 7th house, which means obviously your Lagna is that of Capricorn. So if Mercury is transiting over your 7th house over the Cancer sign, so here the person also rethinks not only about their married life or teamwork through power of analysis and critique, but also from the emotional perspective, also looking at, am I having peaceful, tranquility in my married life, with my married partner or with my partnership? Do I gel well emotionally with my team members? Is my team empathetic towards me, or am I empathetic enough towards the team members? Do we support each other well enough? Do we want to take care of each other? Are we also emotionally on the same page as well or not? So Mercury, when it is transiting over the 7th house, will not only relook at the choices that you have, the decision making about the 7th house, but also combining it with the sign energy that is placed in the 7th house. Now when Mercury, the planet of logic, practicality, analysis, thoughtful decision making, communication, marketing, and so many areas that Mercury, also education, critiquing, all these areas that Mercury rules and characterizes, when it goes over transiting, not placed to mind you in the 8th house, but transiting over the 8th house, which means a short duration transit of a few weeks to maybe a couple of months as well. So yeah, 8th house, the planet or the house of transformation, obstacles, research, certain events, mysteries, underground areas, hidden areas, sexual organs, inheritances and all that. So Mercury going over this area makes you rethink and analyze about the 8th house areas and thinking, have I done well about the areas of the 8th house? For example, do I take proper decisions when I face challenges, when I face any obstacles, when I face some upheavals? Do I take right decision? Do I think clearly? Do I get too emotional? How have I been able to overcome obstacles so far? And how have I been able to overcome sudden challenges which I have not anticipated? Am I prepared enough when something happens? Person may also rethink about their sexual relationship also. If somebody has had a relationship which is not doing very well, they may rethink about, should I even continue with this relationship? Should I keep it hidden? Should I go public with this? Because the 8th house is also the house of hidden areas, hidden assets. So the person will reanalyze about these areas and think through and then take an educated decision about them, wanting to do something about it, because Mercury is also about educated actions. Now, which sign Mercury transits over the 8th house when it is transiting the 8th house is also important. So for example, if Mercury is transiting the Leo sign over the 8th house, if Leo sign is in your 8th house, which means Capricorn sign is your Lagna. So yeah, Mercury may rethink about, have you been responsible when things have gone not your way? So for example, whenever you face roadblocks, have you taken the leadership and the responsibility to overcome it, or you rush to your mother, you rush to your father, you rush to your spouse, you rush to your friend and you hand over things behind them, or you tell them, you take a decision, I don't know how to handle this or sort this particular thing out, or you take the ownership, you take the leadership, you find the solutions for that area. So which sign Mercury is going over, transiting over while transiting the 8th house is also very important, because through the combination of the house energies and the sign energies, when Mercury is transiting over that house, then you will be able to analyze what kind of decisions, logical, practical, logical, critiquing decisions you take and the choices you make when Mercury transits over the 8th house. Now when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, decision making, communication skills, marketing, branding, critiquing, all these areas is transiting over your 9th house. The 9th house of higher learning, higher qualification, learning through experiences or experiential learning, your gurus, long distance travel, dealing with people from different cultures, gains, your fate, your luck, and so forth. So when Mercury is transiting over your 9th house, it makes you rethink, reanalyze the choices you have made so far about the areas about the 9th house. Now mind you, Mercury is not placed in the 9th house, but Mercury is transiting through your 9th house, which means Mercury will not be thinking about all the areas at the same time, but Mercury will make you think about that one area which is current, which is what you are grappling with at that particular moment. So if you are going through some higher qualifications or going through higher degrees, or you're in university, or you're going through a workshop in your organization, then you may rethink, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right qualification? Am I doing the right PhD? Am I in the right course? Am I doing the right workshop, or should I do this, should I not do this? How am I doing so far? Have I done a focused, disciplined effort towards my education so far? What will be I doing henceforth? And how does this augur well, or how does this combine with my career and so forth? So Mercury will make you think about that one area about the 9th house, of which of late you may have had some experience, or you may have faced some roadblocks, or you think this area requires your attention, and then basis a very educated decision, you will rethink about that area and then take an action about that area. Now which sign Mercury is transiting over while transiting the 9th house is also very important. So for example, if Mercury is transiting over the 9th house where you have the sign of Gemini, then Mercury may make you rethink about not only your education, but also thinking about, are you putting in the right efforts, and also whether this will be able to help you to be able to do your own business, because Gemini sign also has the 3rd house effects, which means wanting to do something of your own, having the energy and the wherewithal and the competence also to be able to do something of your own, may be connected even to arts, because 3rd house which Gemini represents in the Kalpurush Kundi is also about the ability to use your limbs. So somebody who is going through, say for example, learning some artistic skills, learning to play the guitar or learning to dance, may also think that, am I doing very well so far? Because it is the Gemini sign, the person may also be in dual mind. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I study this course or should I not study this course? Should I do this qualification or should I do that qualification? So the sign of Gemini, or whichever sign Mercury is transiting while it is transiting the 9th house, will also play a part in how you are making your decision making, how practical you are, how logical you are, and from then on what choices you make. Now Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thoughtful decision making, your branding, your critiquing skills, your communication, all of these areas are represented by Mercury when Mercury is transiting over your 10th house, the house of your reputation at work, your authority at work, your career, your dedication and discipline, the kind of work you do, your approach to work, your approach to your higher ups in the organization, expectations of higher ups, your rapport with your superiors at work, and then what industry or area you're working in. So when Mercury is transiting your 10th house, then Mercury makes you analyze about at least one area about the 10th house. Now mind you, Mercury is not placed in the horoscope in your 10th house. Mercury is only transiting through your 10th house in transit over any one of the areas of your life. You will rethink and analyze. So either you will be thinking about your career so far, or you will be thinking about your reputation at work, or you will be thinking about your relations or rapport with your seniors or higher ups and so forth. So about that one area, Mercury may make you rethink. So for example, if you're thinking about the kind of work you're doing, then you may think, or you may analyze, is my job description apt? Do I take more than I can actually work on? It's as it said, are you trying to chew too much than what you can eat? So here Mercury also makes you rethink about one area about the 10th house. So if it's about work, you may also think, am I doing the right thing? Will it help me to grow? Will it help my promotion? Will it help me to learn? Will I be able to get an increment over this? Would I be able to get a growth in this area? Will I be able to learn, for example? So Mercury will make you reanalyze at least one area about the 10th house and make choices according to that. educated choices. From now on, what do I do? Where do I focus? What kind of effort that I put in so that I can be able to push myself and grow also. Now, which sign Mercury is transiting over your 10th house is also very important. So, for example, if Mercury is transiting over the sign of Virgo over your 10th house, which obviously means if Virgo is your 10th house, your Lagna is that of Sagittarius. So, if Mercury is transiting over the 10th house over the sign of Virgo, here Mercury also gets exalted because Virgo is its own sign. So, here the person may also rethink and maybe think critically about the challenges that they have at work, the competition that they have at work, how dedicated they are, and on a day-to-day basis, are they enjoying their work, are they satisfied at work. So they may also critique a little bit, and they may also try to bring in a lot of perfection orientation about Virgo. Virgo is also a sign connected to perfection, connected to service. So here you may also want to do better so that you can keep the competition at bay. So which sign Mercury is transiting over while it is transiting the 10th house is also important, because then you should be able to see the combination of the house and the sign energies, and through that combination what kind of permutations, combinations, and what kind of choices Mercury is allowing you to make. Now, when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thought through decision making, your communication skills, your marketing, your ability to influence people, critiquing and all that, is transiting over your 11th house, the 11th house of your friends, your larger society, societal causes, societal connections, your wishes and desires, your social network, working in large organizations, the masses, and so on. So here Mercury going over the 11th house in transit means, now mind you, this is not Mercury placed in the 11th house in your horoscope. Here Mercury is transiting over your 11th house, which means out of all these areas of the 11th house, at least there will be one area which Mercury will be forced to or focused on in transit to rethink about, reanalyze, and take an educated decision about. So for example, if Mercury is transiting over your 11th house and of lately you have had some challenge with your social network, for example, you feel you don't know enough people, you're not growing in your organization, even if you're working in a large organization, there are very few people you know. So here the person may rethink that, oh, maybe I need to increase my social network, maybe I need to reach out to people, maybe I need to create better connects with people across the departments. There are many times I don't know people, I don't know who to approach, then I need to go to my boss or ask somebody else, who do I approach in marketing, who do I approach in admin, who do I approach in IT when I run into a challenge. So here the person may think or rethink or analyze that I need to do something about my networking skills, I need to reach out to people, I need to be somebody who will try and connect with more people so that I know more people, so that my job becomes easier. So here Mercury transiting over the 11th house will make you analyze, take an educated decision, improve upon at least one area about the 11th house. Now, which sign Mercury is transiting over your 11th house is also very important. So for example, if Mercury is transiting over your Libra sign over your 11th house, if Libra sign is in your 11th house, which obviously means that Sagittarius is your Lagna. So here Mercury will make you think about your relations in your social network. So Mercury may make you think that in my social network, what kind of relation do I have with people? How do people see me? Am I somebody who's balanced in my social network? Is there enough give and take? Do I give in too much in my social network? Do people misuse my friendship, misuse my empathy, misuse my guidance, misuse the effort that I do in terms of supporting them? So Mercury may make you rethink about the balance and the relationships you keep. Mercury may also make you ask for feedback from people. You may approach people and say, you know what, of late I think you and I, we have not hit up very well. So what kind of feedback you want to give me in terms of where we can improve our equation, our ability to work with each other. So when Mercury is transiting over the 11th house, also see which sign it is transiting over, because Mercury will then make you get a combined educated decision about the 11th house, about the house as well as the sign, and together Mercury will allow you to make the choices in the right direction. Now when Mercury, the planet of analysis, practicality, branding, logic, marketing, critiquing, putting a lot of effort, thoughtful decision making and all that, when it is transiting over your 12th house, the 12th house of losses, expenses, waste and excess, spirituality, foreign lands, individual work, solitude, working in isolation, working in clinics, working in MNCs, multinational corporations, working in foreign companies, foreign lands, armed forces, working with foreign clients, and so on and so forth. So here Mercury may make you rethink about at least one area about the 12th house. Now mind you, Mercury is not placed in the 12th house in your horoscope. Mercury is transiting over your 12th house. So when it is transiting, it will not think about all the areas about the 12th house at once, because the transit of Mercury is a short duration transit. So Mercury may think about one area about the 12th house and get focus on that. So whichever has been something which in lately has been under focus or given you some challenges or made you rethink about that area, you may think about that area more critically. For example, 12th house is also the house of expenses. So here you may think that, am I somebody who controls my expenses very well? Am I somebody who logically makes expenses or spends money rather than emotionally go and spend money without thinking? And you may then look at how many dresses have I purchased over the last 2-3 months, how many holidays have I taken, or have I bought certain things in the house which are not needed, have I on a whim gone shopping and bought 3-4 things, electronics in the house which probably I didn't need. I didn't need a new laptop, I liked a new laptop, I just went ahead and purchased. I didn't need a new phone, I purchased. So Mercury may rethink about one area about the 12th house and then try to do something about it. So here, if of late you think you have been spending more money, you have not been able to save more money, then you may sit down, take a calculator, make a spreadsheet, put in all the expenses, see where your money is going, are you investing in the right areas, and so on. So Mercury, when it is transiting over the 12th house, will make you rethink about, reanalyze and take logical decisions about at least one area about the 12th house in transit. Now which sign Mercury is transiting over is also very important. If Mercury is transiting over the 12th house and the sign of Pisces, where it actually gets debilitated. So here Mercury may creatively think, because the power of analysis is reduced here, the creative thinking comes up more. So here you may creatively try to rethink about where you can maybe spend less money, and you can be more creative in how you are able to spend your money with more clarity. So here Mercury may rethink about your expenses along with the creative energies of Pisces, and also looking empathetically about your family. For example, you may think, okay, I may not have spent money very well, but at least for family I should not be cutting corners. Maybe I should cut corners for myself. So while you are thinking and being very logical, but you will also at the same time be a little emotional, which the Pisces sign also brings in. So when Mercury is transiting over the 12th house, also relook at the sign that it is transiting, because Mercury then will combine the effects of the 12th house, the areas of the 12th house, along with the characteristics and the personality of the sign, and then take educated decisions accordingly, and then make the choices accordingly. So friends, now that we have seen how Mercury's transit over different 12 houses in the horoscope and different sign combinations, what kind of permutations, combinations, what kind of choices it will allow you, do see when Mercury transit over which house, over which sign, how you have made your choices accordingly. Have you made the right choices? Have you done educated choices? And have you used the power of analysis in transit of Mercury well to your advantage? So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. And please subscribe to my channel. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan, signing off. Ciao.